Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. This is going to be just kind of a recent finds video, just stuff that's come in over the past week or two. Um, I did go to a record show a couple days ago and picked up some really neat stuff, and just wanted to kind of share that. But most of a lot of stuff's just kind of still from the shop, with the store credit and everything from working there. It's really kind of weird because one of the strange things about going to the record show, because so much of what I've been bringing in over the past, I don't know, however long now, has just been from the shop. So to go to a record show and it was like someone was saying, you need to give me money for this record. I'm like, no, don't I just like take it and walk out of the door? Like that was a feeling that I had because, just not giving money for records for, for so long now. It's gonna be weird if I ever or whenever I leave the shop or whatever the case may be because I've just gotten so used of not paying money for records. But the record show was really cool. Had a chance to meet up with two VC members that I've never actually met face to face before. Uh, Brian, Cosmic Brian here in the VC, as well as Dan from Dan's Vinyl channel. Really cool meeting up with those guys. We had a chance to kind of chat a little bit and just kind of hang out there for a little bit. And I always think it's kind of neat too because you really kind of get to know people in the VC just through our interactions through the VC. But of course, that never replaces the human interaction. I'm sorry, element of it. So one of the reasons why I'm not a big social media fan because I don't like the disconnect of it. Like the only social media I do whatsoever is this with the VC, but I don't do Facebook, I don't do Twitter, I don't do Snapchat, or just blah 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 blah. I don't do any of that. It's just like I'd rather get in my car and drive an hour and meet someone, and because it's just that human element. I think it's just kind of awesome. But this is the world that we're in, and sometimes the best way we can stay connected. But just kind of going through all that to say, it was really cool meeting Dan and Brian because again, you get to know them and their personalities and the characters that we all are in the VC. But then like when you actually meet someone in person and you're having that real time interaction, you get to see these other layers, and it's just kind of it's like an extra bit of something that and connect with that person that people that maybe never get a chance to meet them. Um, and I thought that about Dan and Brian. It's like, they were already just really two cool guys, period. But then you meet them and you get to interact with them, and just I don't know, they went to another level of cool with me. So I think that was really really awesome to get a chance to actually meet them. I'm looking forward to hanging out again. But let me kind of jump right into this and just kind of show you some really cool things here. Let me start off with the first one, which is kind of a grail, I think. It's not one that pops up too often, but a nice addition to the Black Sabbath collection, which is here there. And this is from 1990. I mean, not like the greatest Black Sabbath album of all time, but definitely one that just doesn't pop up too frequently. And I was able to find this one in fantastic condition at a record shop over in Columbia, Missouri, actually called Hit Records, which is it's a pretty cool shop. The owner there, the guy is really really cool. One of those easy to talk to guys, always introducing you to new music, and he's one of those guys that's just a huge fan of music. And I think you know what I mean by that for those of us here that we like music, but then there's some people that they're just fans of music, if that makes sense. But yeah, so he got this piece in, and it was just kind of a really nice piece, and he came down on the price a little bit, and I had a bunch of stuff to trade in too. So again, I was able to kind of pick it up without really having to spend any good money. So I thought, heck yeah, I better go ahead and grab this while I can. But yeah, 1990 Black Sabbath. This has Iommi, of course, but then Kazi Powell on drums, Tony Martin on vocals, and Neil Murray on bass. So this is kind of for a lot of people that aren't, huge deep Sabbath fans, kind of that little odd piece, but really happy to pick it up. As you can see, the cover's in fantastic condition. The vinyl is in excellent to excellent plus condition, just kind of fighting towards the near mint. The only thing that even made me hesitant at first was if you see right here on the back, there's a KCOC, which it came from a radio station, and so they had, of course, wrote their stupid initials there. But I still just kind of felt, hey, as rare as that is, and in how fantastic condition, I'm willing to accept the initials there. So, fantastic addition to the Sabbath collection, which was nice. Let's see. This is a nice piece that came into the shop the other night, and it was so funny too because I had no idea this has been released. Because if I recall, this Candlebox, which was their debut album, I think they had released it before, where it was two albums in one. Like it was a 2 LP set, but it was two of their albums, and it had this cover on one side and the other cover on the back. I think it was this one. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, and I remember I didn't buy it because I was like, I just didn't like the fact that you had to do this to see the other album cover. And at the same time, I didn't want to complain because, I mean, if the record companies are actually giving you two albums for basically the price of one new album, it's like, well, don't bitch too much. We're always complaining about how pricey everything is, and they're giving you a little more. But I just didn't like that setup. But anyway, Music on Vinyl did a nice reissue of this 2 LP set. It's on silver vinyl. You know, and again, kind of that early 90s stuff when I guess kind of the grunge movement and the poppy grunge and all that stuff was kind of coming about. The stuff I label more so as hard alternative is kind of how I label this. But yeah, you know, they had that big hit Far Behind, you know, which is really cool. And then also another great song here, which is Cover Me, which is a fantastic song as well. I remember when I first discovered that song, Cover Me, back when I used to do competitive bodybuilding. I used to be a lot bigger. And the very first show I did, the main guy that I was competing against, the guy that got second place, because I got first place, I remember the song that he posed to in his last routine was the song Cover Me. I remember just sitting on the side of the stage watching him do his routine, and I heard that song, and I was like, man, that's a badass track. And so I went up and asked him later after the show. I was like, dude, what song was that you used for your show? And he was like, Cover Me by Candlebox. So that's how I fell in love with that song as well. It's probably my second favorite song on the album. But yeah, the really cool. I had no idea that had been released. There's a guy at the record shop that I work with who's kind of our metal guy, so to speak. His name's Nick. Really cool guy, fun guy to work with. And he actually ordered that by accident, thinking Candlemass and not just paying attention to. And so I was like, hey, good screw up, because I so wanted that and had no idea it had been issued. Moving right along, a couple things I picked up at the show here, which is kind of nice. So kind of going into few audiophile pressings here. I found this nice copy of Pat Benatar, nice Mo-Fi pressing of that, 1979. Beautiful piece, very common album, but you know, I love Pat, so you guys always know what I say about her, which is don't sleep on Pat. That's that's kind of my little motto. It just goes with any Pat Benatar record I show. So that was a nice find. I do have a Japanese pressing of that, but again, I found that Mo-Fi pressing and got it for only like $15 too, which was, you know, just a great price to be in mint condition. Then I picked up this copy of Aerosmith, a nice Japanese pressing here from 1973, I believe. And of course, you know, the biggest hit you have on here is Dream On, but just a nice Japanese pressing of that, which was cool, as well as White Snake, Live in the Heart of the City. Very nice Japanese pressing there as well. Again, some pretty common albums that you guys probably know extremely well. And talk about a steal here for, did I get this for $7, I think? $7 or $8. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Fantastic piece right here. And this is I Am. And as you can see, it's a half-speed master. You know, so I mean, you have fantastic songs on here like Boogie Wonderland and, you know, In the Stone. I mean, definitely one of their bigger albums. And yeah, just to find just a mint half-speed master copy of that for less than $10 is just fantastic. So That was also another good find. And then next here into some of the, the OG editions, because you guys know I'm kind of going back and putting a focus on completing some OG collections. One of which is Iron Maiden, and so I picked up this copy of Peace of Mind. Again, just a very nice, near mint piece, absolutely beautiful, still in the shrink, and it's really cool because it still has the $7.99 Tower Record price sticker on there, which I thought was kind of neat. But yeah, 1983 press, just fantastic. And again, another common album you guys know inside and out. Of course, you have the legendary The Trooper on here, which is, I have to say, definitely my favorite song off of that album. Seems like I've been finding, I should say, a number of Priest original pressings lately, and I was able to come across British Steel as well from 1980. So again, another very nice one there. This is 1980 U.S. press. And then the last on the OG editions was I found this copy of Kiss. Wait a second. Oh, yeah. Found this copy of Kiss Rock and Roll Over. This is a 1976 U.S. press. So again, another nice OG pressing to add into the collection. And the next one here is one I have to actually thank Brian and Dan for, because there was a table that had some smaller stuff. I thought I looked through it earlier, but just kind of walked past, and I was getting ready to kind of leave, and I saw them standing over there when I was walking by. So I went over and was like, hey guys, we started chatting and everything. And since I was standing there chatting with them, I just started flipping through this bin. And sure enough, it was just like a lot of stuff I really didn't need or anything of that nature. But then this one just popped up out of the blue. And you guys know how I've been just not going crazy, but just putting a strong focus on picking up Grace Jones and trying to complete my studio album collection with her. So if Dan and Brian hadn't been standing by that table and just kind of talking and yapping, I would have totally missed this piece. And it was only like $6, I think he charged me for it, which was really nice. But yeah, this is Grace Jones, Living My Life, 1982. And again, it's just Grace doing her thing. I mean, it's always kind of hard to describe her outside of just saying extremely creative. Just did things the way she wanted to, the way she heard them, and love me some Grace. So great pickup there. And again, a lot of the Grace Jones stuff it's not really hard to find. I mean, if you keep looking, eventually most of the albums pop up somewhere, but it's always that condition piece. That's always, at least for me, has been the hard thing with Grace Jones, is stumbling across stuff that, is in that type of condition. So that's awesome. And speaking of which, Ron Haggerty, you guys know him here in the VC, sent me some very, very cool VCLT. He got a collection a while ago, and he was flipping through in his videos, and I just kind of pointed out a couple things, and I was like, hey, if you're interested in selling that or trading or something like that, let me know. I would love to get those pieces. And Ron's like, no, just send it to me. that magic of the VC. And one of those things that he sent to me, which is going right along with the last album I just showed you, is a Grace Jones portfolio. Same thing. It's not necessarily a hard album to find. It's a typical $4 or $5 album, but I just do not stumble across them in this type of condition. That's always the key. And so, Ron, man, I really appreciate you sending that over to me, and another huge step towards completing my Grace Jones collection, and really appreciate it, brother. So thank you very, very much. And not only did he send that, he also sent another one which falls along the same lines, which was the Urban Cowboy soundtrack. Again, common album, all over the place, but I just do not find it with that type of cover. I think I actually have 2 pressings back there that I'm getting rid of, or going to sell, but it's because the covers they're always just kind of worn. So he sent me this one too, which again, as you can see, fantastic condition. Really appreciate that. And I love this soundtrack. I mean, it's just my kind of country in a lot of ways when you really get down to it. Songs like, Stand By Me by Mickey Gilley is a fantastic version of that. Johnny Lee's version of Looking for Love on here is also awesome. Awesome. Also awesome. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a great soundtrack. Box Skaggs, Look What You've Done to Me. Um, I don't know. Just a great movie, great soundtrack, all classic. So yeah, Ron, thank you very much for that. He also sent this one here, Loretta Lynn, and she is definitely one of my favorite female country artists. Loretta Lynn, Looking Good's the name of the album, and she is too. I don't know how old she was there. I mean, this is 80, but yeah, love Loretta. I mean, ever since I saw the movie Coal Miner's Daughter with Sissy Spacek as a kid, I fell in love with Loretta Lynn back then, without even knowing her, who she was. Just the way that Sissy played that character, and that movie was just fantastic, and I've loved her ever since. So again, this was a nice piece that Ron had that he sent over, and great addition to my country collection, because I do love me some Loretta, boy. No doubt about it. See, the next three here, yeah, these were really cool too, because again, this was more of a condition thing. Things I've passed on a number of times waiting to find in great condition. And I found this Uriah Heep. I haven't spoken about them as much over the past few months, but I'm still working very hard on completing that discography. And this was one I'd been needing, which is Sweet Freedom. Very nice piece there. Again, a bunch of these in my local record stores, but it was always the condition factor. So found this one in absolute near mint condition. So another fantastic edition there, as well as same thing with the Temptations, Sky's the Limit, from 1971, I believe. Yeah. So again, another great one there. I guess kind of more one of their, I guess somewhat of their well-known albums. This does have Just My Imagination, a few other things too, but I mean, yeah, definitely a cool album. And this was kind of that phase where, there's a few albums in there where the Temptations were kind of bringing in some of the flavor of the psychedelic thing that was going on from the late 60s going into the early 70s. In some places you can hear it in some of the songs, but there's a couple of their albums which are a little, excuse me, more pronounced, but still great stuff. And then Fleetwood Mac, Bare Trees. Another one I was happy to finally find in fantastic condition. And a really good album too. I mean, I've heard a couple of songs off of here, but I really didn't know the album that well. But after sitting and spinning it the other day, I mean, I was like, that's a pretty fantastic album. Especially, when you think about not having Nicks at the helm and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is definitely some very good stuff. 1972 pressing of that there. And then what are the last four that we have here? This is Target. Don't know how familiar you guys are with this group, but from 1977, I believe. This kind of represents the early days of that hard rock and what would kind of become the glam metal and hair metal stuff. There's kind of some of the early pioneers in that regard. I'm actually going to file it away in my hard rock section. I think it falls a little bit more under that, but yeah, just one of those great albums that just really kind of captures the spirit of what was to come with the hard rock glam metal type of thing. Really no one particular song I would pull off of here, but just kind of an overall good early hard rock metal from 77. And I think in last video or video before last, I showed the deluxe version of this album that I just picked up. And at the record show, I saw this one for only $3, which is a very nice near mint copy of Desolation Angels by Bad Company. So I thought it'd be nice to have just kind of a regular original pressing of this, as well as a deluxe version, especially for only $3. So that was a great pickup. And the last two, some new reissues that even though I'm not gigantic fans of these albums, I thought it might be good to get my hands on them because you never know when this stuff goes out of print and all that kind of stuff. And they are good albums, but even though I have the CDs and everything, and I would probably be content with just listening to them on CD. I think more the collector came out in me on these. And again, I had a bunch of store credits sitting there, so it's just why not cash some of it in. But Bruce Springsteen, this is a 2 LP, Devils and Dust. I think this originally came out in 2005, I believe. So this is the 2020, the new reissue of was this ever issued before? I'm sure it probably was. I don't know. But again, it's just one of those things where, hey, it's a nice 2 LP set, one of Bruce's classic albums. So I just thought, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get my hands on it before I'm regretting a couple years from now of not grabbing it when it was sitting right there. And I had credit I wasn't using anyway. And then the same thing with The Rising. So I picked both of those up. This is from 2002, I believe. And yeah, I mean, honestly, these two are falling more on the collector side. 'Cause I'm gonna keep them sealed for now, and just kind of nice to have in my collection. And yeah. So, one other thing I wanted to show that I did pick up at the show, another great finds. It was only $2 or $3, I think. But this nice Japanese CD of Radiohead. And I was looking at my Radiohead collection too. This is the one reissue on vinyl that I do not have. I need to get a copy of this on vinyl. But yes, I mean, a nice Japanese CD there. And this is one of the Radiohead CDs. I don't remember as well off the top of my head all the songs on it, so I'm not going to make a bunch of comments about it. But, I do respect Radiohead for what they've done. And, for the most part, all their stuff is really good. But I'm definitely more of Ben's. Ben's is probably my favorite album by them. I mean, OK Computer, of course, is one that has me right up there at the top, but it just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. But great find there as well. All right, so there you go, VC. Those are the recent finds from just stuff from the shop as well as the record show. Again, Ron, thanks so much for the VCLT, man. Really appreciate it. Brian, Dan, so awesome. Great getting a chance to meet you guys as well. And my next video, I'm going to come back and do one pretty soon here. And it's going to be probably a Give Me 10 video. And I think it'll be an interesting one. It's definitely one that I don't think anyone has done in the VC before. So look forward to that maybe the next day or two. But anyway, thanks for watching as always, guys. Appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon. All right, take care.